Welcome. In this English 2010 video, we want to talk about some of the benefits of multilingualism. We'll also talk about the topic of your first paper. So what are the benefits of multilingualism? In other words, what are the good things or the positive outcomes of being a multilingual person? First, let's focus on the individual person, the person who can speak more than one language. Lots of research has shown that people who are multilingual have a greater ability to adapt to multicultural or international situations. Because they speak more than one language, they are better able to code switch and adapt to different social situations. So because of this, they have more advantages in social situations. They're more flexible in their identity, they're more flexible with cultural norms, and so that they feel more comfortable accepting differences and working with people from different backgrounds. There's also some professional benefits. People who speak more than one language are more likely to get jobs that require some level of intercultural or international cooperation. So speaking another language could give you an advantage in getting a job, especially if that language is highly valued in the international marketplace. Lastly, being multilingual can have some cognitive benefits. Now, cognitive here, we're talking about the brain or thinking. And many studies have looked at how do the brains of multilingual people differ from the brains of monolingual people, people who only speak one language. And they have seen some differences. Overall, those brains are very similar. But the way information is stored, particularly language and vocabulary, is stored differently between multilingual people and monolingual people. And the multilingual people especially seem to have an advantage with the decision-making part of the brain. They're better able to make quick decisions and react to information. And this may be because of their multilingual nature, where they have to code switch a lot. They have to make decisions quickly. Which language do I use? What's the right word for the right language? And so many scientists have hypothesized or guessed that because they're multilingual, this has led to an increased ability to be good at making decisions. And so that could be another benefit of being multilingual, is you might be a faster and better decision maker. Now, there are also benefits, not just to an individual person, but in benefits to the community or the society or country when that country is multilingual. The first benefit has to do with diversity. Diversity means we have a greater variety of ideas and people and values and cultures. Now, sometimes there are some challenges that arise with diversity, and we'll talk about that more next week, but there's lots of benefits to diversity because it gives us more options. When we have a problem, the more diverse a group of people we're working with, the more likely we are to come up with solutions that might be useful. When a society isn't as diverse, it's harder to come up with ideas that don't already fit the mindset and the culture that the people already have. So diversity can be a very valuable aspect of any community or society. The other benefit of multilingualism is that it leads to greater inclusion. So a country that is, or a community that is more monolingual is more likely to have one way of doing things. And when someone new enters that community, they are often expected to follow the same pattern, the same structure, and the same culture. But if a society or community is multilingual, then they've already accepted that there are different ways of doing something, and that's okay. So when someone new enters, they are more likely to be accepting of that person, even if that person is very different from the kinds of people that are already in the community. Because the community is used to differences, they're more welcoming of new differences. And this can help a community increase its diversity, but also it helps that community stay together because a new idea doesn't split the people apart or doesn't cause them to judge or keep out outsiders. Instead, it helps them to welcome outsiders because everyone is a little bit different. And so all those differences are valued and included together. So those are just some of the possible benefits of multilingualism. And that's something you should be thinking about as you think about your experiences with multilingualism. What are the good things that have come out of being a multilingual person? And this is really the topic of our first paper. We will write a personal essay. In a personal essay, you write about a personal experience. And your experience or the topic for this paper will be your experience with multilingualism. Now, you need to be careful. What we're not looking for in this paper is a list of all the different multilingual things you have done. So we don't want you to write about how you visited one place and you saw language there. And then another paragraph, you went to another country and you saw something there. And then you had a friend who spoke another language there. That's too many things. You really want to focus on maybe one main experience. And it could be something that has some good things about it, but also that has maybe some bad things or some difficult things about it. And your goal here will be to write about that experience and reflect on whether multilingualism is a good thing or a difficult thing or a problematic thing. And so as you write about that experience, you really want to reflect what are some of the positives that come out of being a multilingual person and what are some of the challenges that come from that. And that's really your goal, is to focus primarily on one experience and explore it deeply. Think about your feelings and thoughts. What were people saying? What were people doing? Try to go back to that experience and imagine and recreate that experience for your readers so they can really feel like they are there with you in the moment that you're having that particular experience. Here's an overview of how we will complete this assignment. So this week, it's week 2, you're going to write a first draft. Just do your best to write about this experience. Give as much detail as you can, and after you explain or you show and tell us part of the experience, you can stop and reflect on it. Then you can tell us some more, and then you can stop and reflect on it again if you like. The following week, you will visit with a tutor from the Writing Center at SUU, and you'll get feedback. Are they able to understand your experience? What part of your experiences do they think are the most interesting? Which sentences are the most powerful? Which parts of your paper are difficult for them to understand? And those might be areas that you want to explain in better detail. Or are there too many ideas? And the tutor thinks that it might be better if you focus on a smaller number of details. And then in week 4, you'll take that feedback from the tutor, you'll revise it, and you will submit your final draft. And as you're working on that, we'll already start doing our next paper. So this is really a short paper to get us started, but it will get us thinking about multilingualism. It'll get us out there writing good paragraphs so that we can get warmed up for some of the more research writing that we will do later in the semester. If at any point you have questions or you want to talk to me in detail about your paper or your ideas, feel free to send me a message, and we can even set up a meeting through Canvas, or I can answer your questions through email. I hope you have a good week.